Thank you for joining us. And before we get started with today's video, if you guys like what you're seeing and hearing from the Locked On Senators podcast, go ahead and hit like, smash the subscribe button so you can be the first to know about Sens content. Now, we're going to be doing a ton of these prospect profiles, so if you agree this is someone the Sens should look at or steer clear, leave your comment below so we can hear from you. Now, we got 64 of these, so let's get into it.
All right, coming in at number 19 on our Locked On Senators draft rankings. We're into the teens officially, and we are going to the lone Austrian on our list. He's been playing in the SHL. As we've talked, a lot of these kids have been playing a few games at the SHL level, but not number 19 from Rögle. We've got Marco Kasper.
Marco Kasper, the Austrian. Ross, only 3 other Austrians have been drafted in the first round. Do you know those 3? Probably.
Thomas Vanek.
Yep.
I'm already running out. Who else?
Marco Rossi.
I should have had that.
I thought you were going to have that one. And then this one you probably wouldn't get, but don't forget Michael Grabner.
Oh, okay.
Grabner, great player in his prime. I really liked him. And speaking of Austrian players, Marco Kasper's dad, Peter Kasper, played a long career in Austria. And a lot of Marco's time, like you mentioned, in Sweden, was spent in the SHL, which is really rare for a young foreign prospect to get that much of a look in the SHL rather than the J20 league. And he's made the most of it there. And what I really like about Kasper, Ross, is this guy is motivated off the ice as well. Wheeler talked about how when he was preparing to come to Sweden, he spent all summer learning how to speak Swedish. Now, I'm not sure the language transition from speaking German in Austria to going to speak Sweden in Sweden. I'm not Swedish in Sweden. I'm not sure how easy that is, but to learn an entire language in a summer is pretty damn impressive. Because look, this is a guy, he was like, for my hockey career to flourish, I need to be playing well in Sweden. I need to learn the language. I need to figure my stuff out. And that's exactly what he did. And in the SHL, 46 games, he had 7 goals, 4 assists, good for 11 points.
Now, we have him listed as a centerman here. So does so does the NHL Central Scouting. But it is worth noting, and Wheeler points out in his draft rankings, that he played exclusively on the wing this season, which you'd expect playing against men. But the fact he played 46 games in the top league in Sweden is super impressive. Yes. He's 6'1", 187 pounds, and he's ranked on Corey Pronman's list as high as 9th. And he's ranked on Tony Ferrari's list as low as 30th. He's 29th for Bob McKenzie, 24th for Scott Wheeler, 17th for Bob McKenzie and Elite Prospects, and 12th on Chris Peters' list. To show you he does have some offense, we made note that playing in the J20 League, he had 13 points in 12 games with Rögle's J20 squad. He was the captain of Team Austria at the ever so short World Juniors, which will resume in August. He'll already have an NHL affiliate by then, though, Pillsy. What will that team expect from Marco Kasper down the road?
Well, he plays a good physical game, and I would say of all the prospects we've covered so far, he's going to be one of the most pro-ready guys. He's already playing solid minutes in pro leagues. And Ross, not only that, but he also got a decent look at the World Championship. He had 7 games, and you're going up against legit NHL talent. You're going up against some of the best in the world in that
and playing with not
exactly.
much.
So he had 2 points in 7 games, not too bad.
Was Balcers there, your boy?
He must have been. Yeah, he must have been. But Balcers, he plays for Latvia, not Austria.
Oh, damn.
Close.
There you go.
But
sick job.
Yeah, and Marco Kasper, just to get back on track with him, what I noticed from watching some of his highlights is he's an aggressive forechecker. Like, he is chasing down opponents. He is hounding down these guys. And the reason he's able to play at a pro level so soon, Ross, is because he's got a good frame, 6'1", 183 pounds, and he uses his size to protect the puck when he's carrying it. And he's so physical that he makes his opponents react quick and make hasty decisions. Like, they see him on the ice, they see him coming at them with speed, and they're like, I got to get rid of this before I get crushed. And what happens is when you constantly have guys thinking like that, they're not going to be making smart, good decisions. And you're going to be turning that puck over, or you're going to be allowing your teammates to turn that puck over more often than not. And I think that's Marco Kasper's biggest attribute, is his ability to put teams on their heels, keep them on their toes, and keep them honest.
Extremely strong forechecker, competes
Yes.
ridiculously hard, high motor, hits everything, ball of hate. Those are
Ball of
the
hate.
adjectives. Those are the adjectives that I would use to describe him. He's going to be a type of centerman at the NHL level, or winger if that's where he ends up. I think that that's a very strong possibility for Marco Kasper, but he's just going to be such a pain in the ass to play against. And we know the Sens love that. Now, would they love it enough to take him seventh? I hope not. But even still, like in the middle of the to late end of the first round, this is the type of player where I think it's a very high floor, low ceiling type guy, but a guy who I could see on a penalty kill in the NHL level. He skates well. He's got decent hands in tight right in front of the net. But that to say, Elite Prospects was questioning his hockey sense as the type of thing like, can he be a top six forward at the NHL level? Maybe not.
Yeah, and that's fair. I don't really have him pegged as a top 6 guy, but that doesn't. I want to be careful when saying that, because I'm not trying to undervalue him. I think he still is going to have a
Right.
lot of value as a bottom 6 guy, just because I find Ross, he's going to be one of those guys where, I don't know, 5-6 years down the road, when he's playing on a team that's in the playoffs, and if they go on a run, you look back and you're like, man, Kasper as a third line winger, like, he was a part of that depth that allowed this team to go far, because he's killing penalties in a 7-game series where you're playing the same team over and over, and there's that ball of hate like you talked about. That's a guy I want on my bottom 6, and I'm putting a lot of value on that guy. And although I'm quite sure he's never going to play on a top power play unit, I think he'd be the perfect guy on a second power play unit to stand in front of the net and just cause
Yep.
havoc. Like, just be a shit disturber out there and not let the other team clear that puck out of the zone quickly, because anytime it's a loose puck and you've got the man advantage, he's going to be going hard at that guy to turn it back over and keep it in the zone. So I like Kasper's game a lot, and I really think it translates to a pro level in a bottom 6 role.
100%. He also played 13 playoff games this year in the
Yep.
SHL. Great experience. He had 3 goals and 3 assists. So he more than halved his production in 46 games in 13 playoff games. So you wonder if that means that when the games get more intense, it just fits his role even better, or was he just getting more comfortable? This is a guy who only turned 18 on April 8th. And all of a sudden, now he's starting to, get into his rhythm, feel good about his game. And next thing you know, the offense starts popping. Now, in his last 10, he only had 1 goal, 2 assists, but I believe some of that was at the World Championships. Of course, it was 7 games there, only the 2 assists, but such a projectable player, Pilsy. Such a guy where you could just see him on a third line, killing some penalties, maybe standing in front of the net on the power play, and then all of a sudden he'll come up with a big goal when you least expect it. Now, I'm curious, as I'm pulling up right now, what do you think for a player comparable? Where do you think that Corey Pronman went? Because we're using his player comparable so that Pilsy doesn't have to deal with your Stepan thoughts again. But how's this for one? Sam Bennett as a type of player. Now, we know that Corey Pronman is higher on him than anybody
Yeah.
else, having him 9th on his rankings. But I see the prototype, like a little bit undersized, like 6 foot, 6'1", but that to say, he is compete level off the charts.
I think, Ross, you're probably, if you're looking at Casper, just me personally, you're probably getting the Calgary Flames Sam Bennett, and not
Yes,
the
yes,
Florida
yeah.
Panthers Sam Bennett. You know what I
Fair.
mean? And hey, again, I don't want to knock that, because I'm looking at Sam Bennett's hockey DB, and for 1, 2, 3, 4 straight years, he had over 25 points. He's double digits in goals and assists. So for a bottom 6 guy playing that defense minded type hockey, that's
Yep.
solid production. And it's interesting to note too that Wheeler tweeted out that Casper spoke with 30 teams at the combine,
Wow.
Dallas and Carolina being the only 2 he did not speak with. So I think
Interesting.
everybody's got his range all over the place, and everybody is at least interested in knowing a little bit more about Marco Kasper.
From Innsbruck, Austria, the April 8th birthday. He's a left shot, so I would project him as a left winger
Yes,
in the
agreed.
future. And he got a championship here with the Champions Hockey League, where it's similar to the Champions League in soccer, where it's different teams from different leagues across Europe. They come together, so gets a little bit of a taste of a championship. Nothing wrong with that. put up comedy numbers growing up in Austria, 63 points in 22 games. How about this? 9 goals in 30 games. Okay, cool. Oh, wait, 63 assists in 30 games? Just setting up his teammates for success there. Already got his first taste of pro hockey Pilsy when he was 14 to 15, like in
Wow,
that
yeah.
range, playing in the top league in Austria. And then they were like, you know what? You got 2 points in 3 games playing in the top league. Okay, maybe you should go take your talents to Sweden and play against tougher competition. Goes there, plays under the U18s, 8 points in 7 games. Okay, maybe we'll even give you a taste as a double underager. Pilsy played 16 if you include playoff games in the SHL as a 16 turning 17-year-old. This guy, you mentioned it, pro ready, and I think that's why I have him up at 3.5 stars as well, because you know what? Maybe the offense won't come at the NHL. I don't see him as a 50-point guy at the NHL level, but as a complimentary piece. Now, the question is, how much value does that have in this draft? Are you taking a guy you expect to be a bottom 6 guy in the first round? That's what team's going to have to decide. Or is there an extra layer of offense that's untapped? But the maturity's there, and I think he'll be an NHLer before some guys that we're doing coming up on our rank.
And I want to touch on that maturity too, because one thing that a lot of scouts highlighted about Kasper is his discipline. Like, for a young kid playing in pro leagues to be going out there and banging bodies every shift, you'd think he'd pick up a couple crappy penalties where he just gets off the rails a little.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that. So that's why a coach can trust him. And I really think Marco Kasper, he's not going to go to a rebuilding team. He's not going to go to a team trying to bump up their prospect pipeline. He's going to go to a team that's like, hey, we're on the cusp of playoffs here. We're up against the cap.
Right.
This is a guy we can get in our bottom 6 for 3 years at an entry-level contract, and he's going to help us out in the playoffs. I see him going to a team that's looking to contend and looking to bring him up sooner rather than later, and there's a lot of value in that. I've got him at 3.5 stars as well, Ross. I don't know how the Sens get him, but I think if they were looking to get a guy like him, a guy with good work ethic, plays a disciplined physical game, and can be pro ready pretty quickly here, there's a lot of value to that.